Good morning. This is a rough draft of a presentation we hope to make to our board in support of our request for a significant increase in the budget for our environment. We really need your feedback to strengthen our message and your help to spread the word to gain the support of all owners for our budget request. Hopefully, we can get more detail about how the founders and current owners view the importance of our natural environment. This 50th anniversary video link on the AIPCA website provides some insight on our history. We hope to learn more specific details on how the recent survey and focus groups support our view of the environment importance to all of us. What we did this spring may be the first time in 50 years that the association took an objective look at our natural environment. Our assessment used county data, easement agreements, and existing contracts to quantify the extent of our responsibilities. 270 acres of natural assets. Our 5 neighborhoods share 5 types of assets, as shown. Our 270 acres covers almost 90% of AIPCA's area of responsibility. We analyzed for the first time the extensive data from several very expensive studies that were completed 2 years ago. We now have a better understanding of the plant and animal diversity within our maritime forest. This data sample allowed us to quantitatively estimate the extent of problems across all our natural resources. We reviewed hundreds of pages of recent professional reports on our dunes, our lakes, and our waterways. We found data to be a baseline for our study of shoreline erosion and sedimentation of our lakes. Our 2 miles of duneland and the 29 pedestrian crossovers were studied by outside consultants. Our assessment gave us some good news about most of our environment. But analysis of the arborist data suggests that our 50,000 trees are losing several hundred mature trees each year to natural causes. Not to mention those younger, smaller trees allowed to be removed from AIPCA property. But we were surprised and saddened by how bad things looked in places. Our quantitative analysis put numbers on how poorly our environment has been maintained. The data indicates hundreds of mature trees reach life's end each year. The arborist's directions were clear. If we want the trees to live a full lifetime, cut down the vines. Our natural forest parcels form networks within our communities, but most are so overgrown we need a machete to enter. We observe the root causes for many of the problems. This lets us know what we need to do to recover and maintain. It took us a while to develop a step-by-step plan for what we need to do to fix what's been broken, then maintain it properly. We identified some things that we could do that make things even better. In total, we identified 120 different tasks for Jack to manage to meet the strategic objectives identified by strategic planning. We understand the level of effort required and the estimated cost to make this happen, if we can get a reasonable share of the budget. We now know how much it will cost just to maintain our 270 acres and offset the natural loss of trees. Let's see how this compares with what has been spent in the past. Here are the past budgets for management of our environmental assets going back to 2018. We adjusted past budgets to 2026 dollars and added loaded staff labor and the 8-year average for major storm cleanup to make an apples to apples comparison. Previous boards must have known they needed to do more to maintain our environment as they were slowly increasing the budget. If the trend had continued, a high confidence curve fit shows that the budget would have reached almost $1 million by 2026. But for some reason, last year's board slashed the environmental budget by more than $100,000. Now that we more fully understand the scope of our responsibilities to manage these 270 acres, we can see that the previous budgets fell far short. Basic maintenance was underspent by $2.5 million. No wonder there are so many dead trees, so many being threatened by vine encroachments, so many ugly spots in our parks and along our roadways. I know you can't read these pie charts, but they show that what was spent was not properly balanced among our various assets. Speaking of imbalance, last year only about 11% of our total spending was budgeted to maintain our environmental assets. Despite the fact that our environmental assets cover 85% of AIPCA's area of responsibility. We were asked to be flexible in developing our long-term plan to recover, maintain, and enhance our most valuable assets. But the longer we wait, the worse it's going to get. However, we've got to plan smartly. Enhancement tasks can be flexible, adjusted to allow reasonable budgets. So we've considered several long-term budget options on top of maintenance for recovery and enhancement. Recovering everything next year would be nice, but it's not practical nor efficient from a management perspective, and it's also very expensive. 3 years allows more management flexibility, but it is still expensive. Spreading recovery and enhancement over a 7-year period suffers from increased costs as the forests continue to degrade. We recommend a 5-year plan to recover and gradually enhance our environment. It gives us time to get our staff up to speed and gradually transfer some contractor work to more cost-efficient trained staff. We expect to see noticeable improvement quickly, but the deeper forest and shoreline issues will take some time. So our request looks like a huge increase from where it was and from where it should have been, until we put it in perspective. We are asking for just 21% of the total AIPCA budget to manage the recovery, maintenance, and eventual enhancement of our number one asset that covers 85% of our acreage. We hope to recover in 5 years from decades of neglect. Is this too much to ask? The board needs to look carefully at its spending in all areas, how efficiently they are managed, how well the services match up with our owner needs. The board could fund any part of this increase from our reserves, especially given the importance of our maritime forest. Or they can increase our dues a bit above expected inflation. We respect that buildings and roads have important issues that need attention over the same time period. We know that reserves could pay for part of our recovery, but even so, owners would agree that a small dues increase for the environment would be worth it to achieve our objectives. Over the next several weeks, we have time to strengthen our arguments and improve our communications. Let's work together to restore the harmony promised by AIPCA. Thank you for your time.